Giants fans, welcome to True Blue Review. Rich, you know why I'm wearing red today?
Because there's blood in the water.
Because I'm pissed. Because our offense...
The Giants don't see blood in the water. Other teams do.
Other teams do. Our offense was offensive. Literally.
It was.
I put down some highlights of the game.
You've got.
Let me run through them real quick.
Go ahead. All right, let's see how many you got.
Evan Ingram had a touchdown, and a nice touchdown at that.
That was exciting. That was very exciting. I jumped out of my chair at that point.
I believe he had 4 catches for about 49 yards, right around there. The only other highlight I could come up with was the fact that the defense held the Lions to 17 points. Now, we did have a failure in the special teams, which put the game out of hand for the most part.
Well, you know what, though? I'll comment on that real quick, because I don't really fault the defense, and I have this later down in my notes, but I don't really fault the defense on that one touchdown that they had. I mean, I know they could have held them, but Detroit gets the ball at the 29-yard line. This is after the defense stopped them. When they poked Stafford in the eye, and I mean, I was pumped at that point. Not because they poked Stafford in the eye, but I was pumped because they got the stop, and basically Detroit was in field goal range. But then on the very next play, when the Giants get on offense, Eli throws a pick. And I can't stand busting chops on Eli's, but that was a bad throw. It was a bad throw. And then the defense is probably over on the sideline celebrating. You can imagine this. And then all of a sudden they probably turn on, they're like, what, really? What? Oh, man. And they had to go right back out there. After it was a fairly long drive by Detroit, and they stopped them. And then they got literally no break at all. And the ball actually moved up closer. And they had it was like a 29-yard line or something like that. So Detroit has a short field. At least they're going to get 3 points.
Right.
But they ended up capitalizing on that. That was not great.
So let me ask you a question. Was Plaxico Burress on the sidelines? Because everybody had a gun and they shot themselves in the foot all fucking night. All right?
Wow.
I mean, we had 2 fourth downs.
Did you think about that line? You must have thought about that.
It just came to my head, man. It just came to my head. All right?
They really did. They were in that game.
Yeah, they were in this game. So in the second half, there are 2 fourth down plays. This just tears me up. 2 fourth down plays. 4th and 3, and Shane Vereen runs 2 yards and gets tackled.
That's also in my notes here. On the low
Sorry, I
side.
keep chewing up your notes.
No, it's okay. Don't even worry about it. Just talk. It's good.
And then the other one, 4th and 10, thrown to Odell Beckham, and he runs a 9-yard route. Shoot yourself in the foot.
You have to know down and distance.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that to me that's, I don't know what that is. That's preparation or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just if you're running out, if you're running down, you're running out. You got to know where the first down marker is. You got to get that yardage, man. So.
Any highlights? Any other highlights you can think of? Anything positive to pull out?
You mentioned the Ingram touchdown.
Right.
The Giants were in the game. That's a positive, but they sustained a drive, which I was really excited to see. They sustained an offensive drive, and they started deep in their own territory and drove the ball all the way down. They looked really good on that drive. They really did. I think besides that, there wasn't a whole lot of positive that I thought of in the game. But the next positive is that they're only 1 game back in the division.
That's true.
So I mean,
that makes the upcoming game, which we'll talk about in another segment, even that much more important.
It's a pretty important game.
It really is. Some of the lowlights, and there were many, so we tried to minimize them. Why don't you give me a few?
Okay. Well, to me, there's plenty of blame to go around.
Certainly.
First thing, the very first drive, it was like deja vu. They run the ball, they get nothing. Second play, they get sacked. So now they got a long field for third, and then bing, they don't get the first down. and that's it. Detroit gets a touchdown. The Giants answer, but once they answer the touchdown, then they just have to eliminate mistakes. Okay, here's the mistake. Evan Ingram, he celebrates. He over-celebrates. And I'm okay with celebrating. I'm not one of these no-fun people like they talk about. I don't mind if guys do something. I think sometimes it's a little ridiculous, kind of childish. But the bottom line is he over-celebrated, got a penalty. It pushes the ball back on the kickoff. And then when Rosas kicks it off, he doesn't make it to the end zone. Instead, it goes out of bounds. And they get a penalty on that. And man, they moved the ball. I didn't understand that really. I was really trying to look for that, but I didn't have time to really look at what that was. But they brought that ball way back.
Yeah.
You know? And they gave Detroit a very short field. I think they were on like the 40.
On the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand exactly how come they gained that much yardage.
Right.
I thought it was a 15-yard penalty
Right.
or something like that. Or maybe the ball started on the Detroit 40.
Right.
I didn't know it came all the way back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the call was on that. I didn't understand.
Because they had already had the Ingram penalty, so I didn't really understand what happened there exactly. And I was trying to figure that out, but I never did. But that was bad. That was bad. And we already talked about the Manning pick. That was costly because the defense had him. The defense had him. And it was so exciting, you know. And then he threw that pick, and it was not. It didn't need to happen. He tried to force it to Ingram, and it wasn't a catchable ball for Ingram. It was behind him. So maybe those two don't exactly have their timing down yet.
Right.
It looks like they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But on that particular play, it didn't pan out. I'm going to put that one on Eli. He probably had a little pressure. He was probably moving a little bit and kind of threw it out there or rushed it or whatever. But there was a defender coming right. I didn't see that it was a good throw, in my opinion, and they turned that ball over. You know.
So Ben McAdoo.
Yeah, Ben McAdoo. You know, they start that next series. And he puts in Orleans Darkwa. I mean, I think he's making that decision. I would imagine that's a Ben McAdoo decision. I don't know if it's a Mike Sullivan division. He's calling the plays.
McAdoo's calling the plays.
So it's his decision. He runs Orleans Darkwa on the first down. Darkwa gets 11 yards on the first down. Gets it's first and 10. He picks up the first down the very first play, and then the next play. They don't run the ball again. To me, in that, I get nervous when the Giants run the ball, but they didn't run the ball, and Manning takes a sack.
Yeah.
And then the next play, he takes another sack. You know, because at that point he's already lost 8 yards or whatever it is. Now they got 2nd and 18. He takes another sack, and I just don't know why they didn't run the ball right there. It confused me. So once in a while. I get confused on some of the play calling. I don't think he managed the clock well at the end of the half. But Detroit got that lucky bounce. I mean, that was really. You have to say. I know the guy's good. Prater is good. He can hit long field goals.
It was 58 yards, though, wasn't it?
I think it was 56.
56.
I think it was 56.
Okay.
But it merely hits the crossbar and bounces it. I mean, as for as much as I've ever watched the NFL, that's the first time I've ever seen a ball hit the crossbar and bounce in.
Right.
I've never seen that live in the game. I don't even think I've ever heard about that happening before.
Right.
I'm sure it has, but it's not common. So they get that, boom, they're up 17-7. All right, so the second drive, second half, they get the ball 1st and 1, and they call Paul Perkins run and play. This is after they drive the ball all the way down. Remember Marshall got that catch? I was excited that Marshall got that catch. That's another highlight, just to see him get the ball in the game. But he couldn't quite get it into the end zone. And he gets tackled right there at the 1. And then Paul Perkins again, gets the call. And on the run and play, gets nothing. And of course, Brett Jones at that point gets that holding call.
Yeah.
Now they're back. Now it's 2nd and goal at the 11-yard line, and they don't get it in. And at that point, McAdoo was going to go for it. I don't know what the rest of the fans think. Some people are like, "Yeah, go for it." In my mind, when you can't score a lot of points, you need to take the points when you can get them. And they were only going to be down by one touchdown. It was 17-7 at the time, so we're down 17-10.
Sure.
Manning gets a delay of game. We are talking about that. In my mind, I'm thinking, like, maybe Manning did it on purpose because he didn't like the call. I don't know, but I totally thought that, and I'm talking about Ben McAdoo right now. In my mind, that was not a good decision to go for it at that point. But luckily, it worked out that we had to kick the field goal anyway.
Right.
You know? And then I thought at that point, the game changer, the fans know, is Eli lays up that perfect friggin' ball. That perfect ball on the sideline after Detroit didn't get anything. Giants are driving. Well, they weren't driving. They had just started their first series. But he lays up that, I mean, it's like, it's money, man. You can't have a better thrown ball.
Yeah.
It's right there. And, you know, the defender was coming over from the secondary, the safety. He would have probably knocked Marshall out of bounds. Maybe Marshall would have got another 5 yards or whatever. Or you never know. Maybe he would have slipped him. He could have had a touchdown, man.
Nevertheless, it hits him right in the hand.
I mean, it was right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right there. And he dropped it. And it was like, that was costly.
Yeah.
That was costly.
Yeah.
Mainly because then they have to punt the ball. They had a third down play, didn't get it. They have to punt the ball, and then what happens? They run it back.
Right.
And then at that point, I'm thinking, this game, it's probably over. So special teams, you know, they blew it because they could have had the tackle. Sometimes, you know, the way that these balls drop, you know, on the punts, it just lines up perfectly, and it did line up for them. But, you know, in my mind, they shouldn't even have had it, and because Bradley Wing, he booted it. I mean, that thing almost was over. I mean, that guy had a backup, and then he backed up too far, and he caught it really low. But man, he just picked it up and scattered, and bing, the guy got the touchdown, and that was a tough point in the game because now it's 24-10, and they're down by 2 touchdowns. But you know, they're down by 2 touchdowns. And there's like 13 minutes left in the game. They still had time to come back.
They did.
They still had time to come back. But what happens? They start to drive, and they get that play with Shane Vereen.
Right.
And they turn the ball over on downs. And at that point, they're really just behind. The defense again stops Detroit, and then I felt that Evan Ingram missed a catchable ball in the next drive. At that point, they're kind of running out of time. But there's still like 5 minutes left in the game. About 4:47 left in the game.
Yeah.
When Ingram misses that catch on the 1 yard line, and if they could have scored right there, down by 1 score, they would have had 4:47 left. Or maybe if they had to run one more play, 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that. It's still possible. You know, it's still possible, but they just don't have the oomph to get it over. So
well, a couple other things that are well noted in the game. Ezekiel Ansah basically schooled Eric Flowers.
Ziggy,
three sacks.
I mean, he owned him.
3 sacks.
He owned him, man.
He ran over his ass.
Wow.
John Jerry, speaking of asses, sitting on his ass more than once. And a total of 5 sacks on Eli Manning. No wonder he's gun shy.
Well, this is another.
Well, one time Eli Manning got the sack on his own because he never got touched and he went down.
Yeah.
He never got touched and he went down. That's how gun shy he is right now. He expects to go down. And that's the problem with that. That was one of the ones that they gave Ansah against Eric Flowers.
He took some hits that game.
Oh, he did.
I mean,
he took
that one, remember? I mean, they pounded him, man, but he still threw it in.
Exactly.
He pounded him. I mean, Eli is durable. He's tough, but he's not going to live forever.
Yeah.
And at any point in time, this guy's got this is his 201st career start in a row. You know, he has never missed a game, and at any moment in time, it could be the last play of the game if he takes a serious hit like that and he falls back, he falls crooked on his shoulder. I mean, you see these guys all the time falling down and like breaking their collarbones and stuff like that. How Manning is able to get these hits and still get up is kind of surprising to me. But then again, you see him pretty much trying to avoid sacks. He does not want to get hit in the,
Right.
he doesn't want to feel like that. He's getting to that point. He just doesn't want that in his career,
Well, one other positive to this game would be the fact that it's not an NFC East team that they lost to yet again.
Still,
it is an NFC team.
Yeah.
It's in the division.
Yeah.
Or in the conference.
It's in the conference.
It's in the conference.
It's a conference game.
So we just get past this. The O-line stinks. They need some help. And a little disconcerting to hear that coach wants to stick with Eric Flowers and he's not making a change there.
Well,
but,
they got to help him is the point. And that's a McAdoo thing. That's a McAdoo decision.
Right.
They've got to do something to help the guy out.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a fullback. They got tight ends. They got to do something. They got to chip. They got to send out, somebody and chip that guy. Something. They got to do something to give Eric Flowers help, because that's who we've got.
Yeah.
Who else is going to play left tackle?
That's right.
I don't really think there is anybody else. And anytime you're moving people around the offensive line,
they moved Pugh to the other side.
That's because of an injury.
Bobby Hart going out. He only played 2 plays.
And I'm surprised that Fluker is not dressed.
Yeah, I don't
what's
know.
going on.
They said he has a problem with his shin. I don't know what that means. I mean, ankles and shins are an issue. So, at this point, let's get past this.
Yeah,
Done with it.
let's get past it. I'm past it. I mean, it's Wednesday for all you fans out there. We're taping this on a Wednesday. We can't tape it right after the game because it's like freaking midnight. Got to get up and go to my job.
Right. Well, I want to give some thanks out because I actually spent Monday night at Big Blue Nova.
Yeah, very
in
cool
Herndon.
place.
The name of the restaurant is Ned Divine's. It's in Herndon. Fantastic crowd, good food, and I had a great time. I really did.
It's a Giants themed bar here in Northern Virginia.
That's correct.
The fans there are out of their minds. So we're looking forward to maybe doing something with those guys over the next few weeks. And
Exactly.
maybe doing a live taping over there.
Right, and I also want to extend thanks to Tin Cannons for some fantastic beer.
TinCannon.com. We just started canning, guys. We just started canning, so we're excited about our growth.
So stay tuned for our Eagles preview, and we thank you all for joining us. Go Giants!
Yeah, all you good Catholics pray this week. We need some help, man, no doubt.